Okay, Fenestra means window in Latin. And there are related names in other languages that are from that base. In French, a window is called fenêtre. In German, it's Fenster. And in Italian, it's Fenestra also, but they spell it slightly differently, F-I-N. And I might add, and we had discussed this before, but for the listeners, we actually started out as Ventana Winery, which means window in Spanish. But then there was a conflict with Ventana Vineyards down in Monterey County, and so we decided to switch rather than fight. Yes, we've been at this location since 1980. My wife, Fran, who's no longer alive, and I started the winery in 1976 at a different location. This building was pretty much falling down, but it was built in 1889 by George True, who was a German immigrant, by the way. And he bought the property, and I don't remember the date, but anyway, he bought it for $11,000 in gold coin. That was a lot of money at that time. Yeah. It was built again as a winery, and we had to move from the previous winery building because the winery operating that wanted all the space, and they really needed a full-time winemaker. I was, at the time, and before that and after, I was teaching chemistry at San Jose State University. And of course, we lived in San Jose. And by series of coincidences, we hooked up with Stony Ridge Winery, which was using the old Ruby Hill Winery, which is a couple of miles away on Vineyard Avenue from here. We started out without much capital. Oh, and that reminds me, when we located here, there was a lot of strengthening that was required for permits. And my wife went around looking for loans from banks, and they just, nah. So anyway, eventually we took out a second mortgage on our home in San Jose, and the interest rate was 15%.
Oh my, those were different times, weren't they?
Yes, they were. But we've survived, obviously, and we now are getting close to paying off the mortgage on this property. We have a total of about 16 acres, of which 6 acres is in vineyards. And the varieties that we grow on our own property, estate vineyards, are the Rhone type varieties, Syrah, Grenache, and Mourvèdre, or Mourvèdre. And I kept teaching because we had to have an income to support the family. I have 2 sons, and at the time, one was a student in high school and the other one was in middle school. Yes, they were. You may have noticed that on the old bottle, old True Red, we used plastic capsules because they could put those on. And they helped as they could, but of course particularly my younger son, Steve, was pretty young. Well, both my wife, Fran, and I liked wine, and we used to take trips when I was in grad school down to Napa Valley, and it was much more, rural and approachable at that time. And once I started teaching at San Jose State, I got together with some other friends of mine, and we all liked wine, and one of the friends had a wife whose family was in the produce business. And so she had access to grapes as well as other fruits and vegetables. And, well, let's make some wine. So we made wine at her uncle's estate. It was on the peninsula in a rather exclusive area. And he was Italian, the family was Italian. And so we made wine from ladyfinger grapes. Not a particularly good choice.
I don't imagine.
The wine wasn't very good. We had problems with the fermentation process. To put it bluntly, it became stinky, which is probably due to hydrogen sulfide, which gives the odor to rotten eggs.
Sure, we all know that smell.
Yeah, particularly if you've taken a general chemistry lab. So again, the wine wasn't very good, but it was fun making the wine. Yeah. And so we continued making wine, and after 10 years or so, a little longer than that, but anyway, I enjoyed making wine more than teaching and had a burning desire to start a commercial winery, and finally did, again in 1976. Going back in history a little bit, Livermore Valley used to be a significant location for vineyards and wineries. In the late 1800s, there were over 50 different wineries, vineyards combined. And again, this building was built in 1889 by George True. When we started the winery, again in 1976, there were only 5 wineries in the area. 2 of them have been here, of course, a long time, and probably many people would know those, and they are Wente and Kincannon. And both of those wineries were established in 1883. Okay, well, of course, I agree with you, and the Growers Association has made concerted efforts to improve the quality and sustainability of the area. And the political situation is also supportive. There's a South Livermore area plan which in part encourages the growth and establishment of vineyards and wineries. We, of course, for a long time have faced the pressure of increasing housing because we're so close to the Bay Area. We have several regulations that are encouraging the viability of vineyards and winery. There's the Tri-Valley Conservancy, and most, I think, of the vineyards and wineries are part of that conservancy and the Williamson Land Act. So these areas should remain as vineyards, wineries in perpetuity. Wineries are very supportive and helpful of one another. We are not cutthroat competition. FenestraWinery.com. And yeah, Fenestra, F as in Frank, Enestra.